Hi, I'm Mark Turner. Welcome back for part 2 in this series on innovation. When I speak about innovation at Apple, what most people want to hear is a recipe, a set of bullet points and processes that will make them more innovative. If only it were that easy. Apple has processes, and I'll talk about some of them in part 3. But as Steve Jobs says, it's not about process. Processes make you more efficient, but they don't make you innovative. Innovation at Apple is driven by talented, creative, dedicated dreamers, doing their best work because they believe in it. They truly want to advance the state-of-the-art in software, industrial design, and consumer electronics, and Apple is one of a handful of companies where you can do that. Certainly, the ability to attract top-notch talent is essential if you want to be successful. But the real secret to innovation at Apple is how they motivate and empower those talented people to do their best work. And the secret to that is in these 4 qualities that Steve Jobs brought back to the company in 1997. Vision, courage, passion, and focus. The same characteristics that define leadership. These qualities are what bring discipline to Apple's creative talent and help channel that creativity into world-class products. And what sets Apple apart from most other companies is the degree to which they excel in each of these qualities. So let's take a closer look. You often hear leaders described as visionary, but clearly Steve Jobs fits that description. It's been said that his vision is so strong he can see over the horizon, meaning that he can see the next big thing before anyone else, and magically predict what consumers want before they know they want it. Everyone wants to analyze and duplicate that magic, but you'll never get there until you realize that visionary products come from having a vision. Apple has a simple vision of changing the world by democratizing technology and marrying it with beautiful design. Steve's vision of a computer for the rest of us has guided his choices and inspired Apple employees for the better part of 35 years. When you buy an Apple product, you buy into that vision. And if you want to work there, you swallow it whole. A compelling vision motivates your team and shapes your goals. And of course, making money must be a goal for every business. But if that's your number one goal, I think you're going to find it extremely hard to create sustainable innovation, because you'll naturally favor profit maximization over quality and customer satisfaction, which inevitably stifles innovation and demotivates your most creative thinkers. One more thing about vision: don't look back. Steve doesn't dwell on his mistakes, and he's not sentimental about past successes either. He's not afraid to knife the baby, as we say in Silicon Valley. That means killing a pet project or even a successful product. For example, this product, the PowerMac G4 Cube, was Steve's baby. A translucent acrylic cube, it was the smallest and most beautiful personal computer when it was released in the year 2000. A design so unique, it's on display at the New York Museum of Modern Art. But sales didn't meet expectations, so Steve killed it after just 12 months. On the other hand, this product, the iPod mini, was a huge hit, the biggest selling iPod of its day. And yet, Apple discontinued it on the same day the iPod Nano was released. Why? Because the Nano was a better product. Other companies might have repositioned the older model as an entry-level product and kept it around to milk the cow. But that's not the Apple way. Learn from the past, of course, but embrace the future. Courage is probably the single most important factor in your success. It takes courage to take risks, and there is no innovation without risk. In business school, we learn to quantify risk and sum it up in a number, but I believe the greatest innovations would never have been made by people who calculated the risk. Sometimes it takes a leap of faith. At an internal communications meeting after the dot-com bubble burst in March 2000, Steve spoke to the employees about where he saw the economy going and how it would affect our business. He didn't think this was going to be a short-term blip in the economy. He thought it would take 3 or 4 years to dig out of the coming recession. And it turned out he was right. But what impressed me about that meeting was how Steve planned to guide Apple through that recession. He said, "A lot of our competitors are going to cut costs, they're going to reduce R&D spending, and they're going to lay people off. And when we come out of the recession, they're going to staff up again and try to pick up where they left off. But you know what? They're going to be 2 or 3 years behind. And we can't afford to waste 3 years of our lives. So we're not going to lay people off. We're going to innovate our way out of this recession. And when it's over, we're going to be ahead of everyone else." And you know what? He was right. It takes courage to bet the company on a single product, as Apple has done more than once. It takes courage to cut your product portfolio from 350 down to 10, as Steve did when he returned to Apple in 1997. It takes courage to kill a best-selling product and to invest during a recession. It takes courage to ignore the advice of armchair experts who want you to play by their rules. That's what Scully and Spindler did in the early 90s and nearly killed the company. It takes courage to shake up industries by creating game-changing products and new distribution models. And I'm not just talking about the computer industry. Apple revolutionized the way we buy and enjoy music and entertainment. They redefined the mobile phone and may soon perhaps transform how we read magazines and newspapers. It takes courage to innovate, and courage comes from passion. If you're not passionate about your job, you're just going through the motions. You won't deliver your best work, you'll never produce something great, and you won't last long at Apple. Voltaire said, "The perfect is the enemy of the good." Steve says, "The good is the enemy of the great. Don't settle." Easy to say, hard to do, but that's what separates the good from the great. So, what is Apple passionate about? Design. Steve likes to tell a story. You know when you see a concept car and you think, "Wow, that's really cool. I want one of those." And then 4 years later, you see the production car and it sucks. And you go, "What happened? They had it in the palm of their hands." What happened was, the designers came up with this really great idea. Then they took it to the engineers, and the engineers said, "Nah, we can't do that. That's impossible." And so it gets worse. Then they take it to the manufacturing people, and they say, "We can't build that." And it gets a lot worse. And so on and so on. Compromise after compromise. So we're passionate about design. What does that mean? As Steve says, most people make the mistake of thinking design is what it looks like. The designers are handed a nearly complete product and told to make it look good. But that's not what design means at Apple. It's not just about look and feel, it's how it works. It's the whole experience, from opening the box to turning it on and setting it up. Every detail has been worked through. And like a Russian doll, no matter how deep you go, you keep finding little treasures. And you realize, wow, somebody actually thought about the small details and cared enough to make sure I had a great experience. User-centric design is at the core of everything Apple produces. Of course, Apple isn't the only company that understands the value of design thinking. There are many examples. But in terms of scale, few can match the results Procter & Gamble achieved under A.G. Lafley, who was CEO from 2000 to 2010. He turned the company around by focusing on design and innovation. And in those 10 years, sales doubled, profits quadrupled, and the company's market value increased by over $100 billion. Lafley realized that design could be the catalyst to transform Procter & Gamble from a technology-driven company to one that is focused on the consumer experience. In other words, design is a differentiator. It's what allows companies like Procter & Gamble and Apple to charge more for their products because they delight customers. Technology used to be a differentiator, but not so much today. Companies can buy, license, or copy virtually any technology they need. But the talent and creativity required to design truly delightful customer experiences, that doesn't grow on trees. It needs to be developed and nurtured by leaders who understand long-term value creation. What else is Apple passionate about? Quality. Because a beautifully designed product that breaks down or doesn't perform isn't a great product. It's not something to be proud of. You might say it's crap. And there's nothing Apple people hate more than crappy products. Apple's commitment to quality shows in the consistently high ratings Apple receives in customer satisfaction surveys and in the high rate of recurring purchases from happy customers. For example, Apple has received J.D. Power's highest customer satisfaction rating for smartphones 5 times in a row. Last but not least, Apple is passionate about changing the world. I'm not kidding. Steve Wozniak said that he would have designed the Apple I even if he never earned a penny from it. He just wanted to make a computer that would be fun and easy to use. And Steve Jobs wanted to put that computer in the hands of everyday people because he felt it would unleash their creativity. These guys set out to change the world, and there's a little of that in everyone at Apple. Your passions may be different, and that's fine, as long as they're meaningful and motivating to you and others. Finally, it takes laser focus to cut away the non-essentials and get to the core of what is real and true and valuable about your product. And when you've found the essence, you have to focus 100% of your resources on realizing that dream and delivering it to your customer. But focus is not just about deciding what you should do, it's about eliminating what you shouldn't be wasting your time on. As Steve says here, it's about saying no to 100 good ideas so you can focus your limited resources on the one or few ideas that are truly great. This is a difference between the old Apple and the new Apple. In the old days, Apple, like many companies, was organized into product divisions. And these divisions didn't talk to each other. There were rivalries between projects. Apple II competed against the Macintosh competed with another product called Lisa, and there were skunkworks projects, hidden from management, where engineers secretly worked on their own pet projects. No more. When Steve returned, he said, "It's my way or the highway. We're going to pull together as a team and focus our energy on the products that we can do best. No rivalries and no prima donnas would be tolerated." And focus we did. At that time, Steve cut the product line from over 350 to just 10. Apple's Chief Operating Officer, Tim Cook, has commented that traditional management philosophy says you should reduce risk by diversifying your product offerings. But Apple believes just the opposite, putting its resources behind a few products that it makes exceptionally well. As Steve Jobs said to Fortune magazine in 2008, Apple is a $30 billion company, and yet we've got less than 30 major products. I don't know if that's ever been done before. Compare that to HP, Dell, IBM, Sony, Philips, Nokia, Samsung. They each have hundreds or thousands of products. Nobody can make 1,000 great products, but even if you could, it's impossible to communicate and differentiate those products to your customers. I love this quote by Mark Parker on Steve's advice for Nike. Just get rid of the crappy stuff and focus on the good stuff. Sounds simple, right? Then why do so many companies find it impossible? I believe it's because they either don't have a vision or they lack the courage, passion, or focus to follow through with it. Every organization requires leadership, but great organizations are filled with people who apply these principles at every level, in everything they do, professionally and personally. You need a shared vision to set the course, but everyone needs courage, passion, and focus to follow through with that vision. Leadership thinking at every level is a hallmark of great organizations. And if Apple makes it look easy, it's only because they've been working hard at it for years, and because they've made leadership thinking a requirement for advancement in the company. That's it for now. In part 3, I'll dig deeper into the culture and processes that contribute to Apple's success. Thanks for listening. I look forward to hearing from you.